When you do have that kind of entrepreneurial spirit, I think naturally as people, I think a lot of entrepreneurs are more willing to push themselves beyond their comfort zone because they have to, because they're doing things that just by the very nature of being an entrepreneur, setting up a business, you're thrown tons and tons of challenges constantly. However, that's not to say that the team around you have that same kind of resilience or that same sort of attitude towards it. So I'm always interested because obviously I have my own team, and this is something I'm always on the lookout for. I have a particular team member in mind, which obviously we're doing quite a bit of work sort of trying to they're in a new role essentially, and it's not something they've done before. However, they're doing such a good job. You know exactly what I'm talking about. They're doing such a good job.
They're amazing.
I know, and this is it. They're doing such a good job,
Yeah.
but it's so difficult for them to hear that they're doing such a good job because. Again, I don't want to say imposter syndrome because it's so new to them, and they're worried about messing things up or whatever it might be. So, like, what is there any sort of strategies you have in place for looking out for it?
I see quite a lot within the team, and I think the key thing is to try and identify it early on that somebody is feeling that way, and recognise the fact that it's probably difficult for them to come to you and say that they're scared about doing the thing that you've asked them to do because they don't want you to think that they're not capable of doing it. So the way that I do that is to try and spot changes in behaviour. So suddenly they become maybe defensive about some feedback that they would normally just kind of take on board, or they're quieter, or they're not interacting with the rest of the team as much, or it can be these really small nuanced changes in behaviour. And the thing that I always think is that it's never about what it's about.
Yeah.
So when you see those changes in behaviour, it can be really easy to react to the change. So you give someone some feedback, they react negatively to that feedback, or defensively to that feedback. It puts you back up. You're like, look, this is the feedback, we need to go. But actually, they're not reacting to the feedback. They're scared about something else, or they're feeling intimidated, or they're feeling nervous about the new role. Or that's the time that you dig in to what's really going on and see if you can find out what's really going on that's prompting that change in behaviour or that slightly negative reaction to something else, because more often than not it's not about what it's about. And I always try and tell myself that, and that means being hyper aware of what's going on within the team and the individuals within the team, which gets harder and harder as the team grows. But knowing each of them as individuals and what their behaviour looks like when they're at their best,
the baseline,
and then you can see what those changes are, and when that behaviour changes, that's the time to say, not to tell somebody off for not behaving in the right way, because that's not how this works. It's about sitting them down and saying, it's probably not about what it's about, so what is it about?